So starting with the neck, we're going to just let the head fall towards the right shoulder. So ears coming towards the right shoulder and moving head from side to side. You can take this arm down if you want. And that will take the stretch into the shoulder a bit more. And then look over the thigh and feel the stretch go to different tendons. And come onto the head. If that feels too much, then just remove the hand from the head. You're not tugging, it's just giving it a bit more of a stretch. And maybe move the head again from side to side, feel into that. Oh, I'm glad we're doing this, Geraldine. I've got a really tight neck as well. Good suggestion. Come back up to center. Same thing on the other side. So ear falls towards shoulder. Think about keeping your shoulder down. Backwards and forwards. And then look over thigh. Hand comes onto the back of the head. And again, you can move the head. I'm doing circles with my chin, whatever, just feel into it. So freestyle, really. Try and find where it gets to a nice tight tendon. And then move to release that. Wow, I think I must have slept on both sides. Okay, and then the head comes back up to center. So now we're going to look over the right shoulder and nod 3 times very slowly. So going as high as you can, looking up, following the movement with your eyes. So your eyes get to refocus. Coming back down, back up, and then down. So 3 times basically. It's the second one, third one, back up, and then down. Let the chin draw the collarbone now. So it's going to go to the midline, and then back up, looking over the shoulder. Everything's happening 3 times, midline, back up to the shoulder, and midline, and then back up to the shoulder, and then hand onto the cheek just to encourage the head around a little bit more. Check that you're not turning, that it's the neck that's doing the turning rather than the whole of the spine. So I've got my left hand on my left shoulder, and I can feel a back stretch happening between the shoulders, which is quite nice. Release. Everyone okay? Yeah, good. Okay, so then we're doing that again. It was looking over the shoulder and nodding 3 times. That's my third one. So going at your own speed, if it takes longer, that's absolutely fine. And then collarbone, so the chin draws the collarbone. So down to the middle point of the breastbone and back up again. Imagine somebody's called you and you're looking over your shoulder when you come up. Back down to the breastbone. And then up as if you're responding to someone calling your name. Back down to the breastbone. Try not to move. As we get older, we tend to move the whole of the spine. And we're wanting to keep that mobility in the neck. And on the last time you come up to the shoulder, hand comes onto cheek to encourage the head round. And I've got the other hand, so right hand on right shoulder, just to make sure I'm not turning. Okay. Great. Then we're going to do brace. So we're going to take our hands on the back of the head and exhale, roll forwards. Belly draws in and up. Going to stay down there for 1 or 2 breaths. If you're finding it very satisfying, stay for 2 breaths. The elbows come towards each other as you come over. 1 breath. 2 breaths. And then inhale, come up. And then exhale again. So we're doing this one 3 times as well. Exhale, round forwards. And inhale, come up. And last one, exhale, round forwards. And inhale, come up. And then let the hands go. We're going to let the head fall back. And you can either do the whole from side to side, so your chin's facing up in the air, the head's fall back as if you're looking up, or you are looking up at the ceiling. And then you're just moving the head from side to side. So you can do one side to the midline and back if you want to. So that would be, if you imagine that's a circle, you're doing a quarter of the circle, or if it's comfortable for you, you can do from one side to the other. And just be prepared for lots of sorts of popping, bristly sounds. Completely normal. Okay, if you find somewhere that's particularly tight, feel free to stop and wiggle that area. Should feel it loosening up quite quickly. Great, so hopefully that's helped, Geraldine. And bring the head back up to center. I hope that feels a bit better. Good. All right, so we're going to move on to, we're going to stay with the shoulders actually, so the hands are coming out. Pushing the hands out as if you're holding the walls. Fingers come back towards you. Feel the, so we're doing, feel the tendons of the muscles, really active arms. Fingers back towards you, see if you can get that stretch as much as possible. Brilliant, and then let that go. Okay, and then we're going to just jump down to the toes. So just doing one foot at a time. I'm just folding into the toe, so wiggling the toe really. And then pushing into the toe as if I was at the start of a race and I was about to sprint. So really stretch. You get your little toe as well. Make sure the little toes in contact with the floor. So that tends to be used less and less. And we'll wiggle and do the other side. Right. Okay. Little wiggle. And now we'll do the alphabet, please. So starting with the right foot, draw the alphabet. You might feel, if you feel it too strongly in the thighs, feel free to take a break as you're writing. You just rest and release the muscle. You'll find you can come back to it and it's much easier. So if you're finding that it's too strong on the, once you've done one side, do the other side, please. But if you're finding that it's too strong, feel free to just rest down as you work your way through. And then once that's done, just do rotating the ankles 3 times each way. 3 seems to be the magic number today. And the other side. Great. Now we're going to sit on your chair. So we're going to do a couple of seated poses. So the first one, you've got your, so I'm going to the right, got my right knee parallel with my ankle. So this is a seated version of this warrior pose. And I've got my back foot facing in. So I wouldn't suggest doing this in socks. I am, because the hall's cold. What you're going to do is you could possibly come up. You don't need to, but you want that level of engagement. So think about it as if you were going to push yourself up. We're bringing our hands out in front of us and one straight back. You're looking down the middle finger of the right hand. Make that back leg active. Don't let it bend if you can, and you'll feel that in your glutes. And you're looking down, like I say, the middle finger. If you want to come up, that's absolutely fine. You can do that. Or stay seated, get that engagement as if you were going to push yourself up, and then draw your torso back slightly. Keep that back leg active, so you're pushing into the outside edge of the back foot. Great, and then bring this right hand onto the right knee. Check the knee is not caving in, sort of falling forwards, and then bring your left hand up and over the head, and you're looking up as if you're looking through your arm. Make that back leg active again, push into the heel, push into the outside edge of the foot, and you'll feel the stretch. Ideally, you'll feel the stretch go all the way up the side of the body. It's called intense side stretch for that reason. If it's not comfortable to look up, look straight ahead and think about having your arm directly over your ear. So push into that back leg again, and then release, come up. And before we do the other side, we're going to do a reverse warrior. So you're going to bring your right hand up. You can take your left hand back around the thigh, or if you want to, you can get hold of the right hand and pull it back. So again, make that back leg active. See how that feels. Active, 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 and then release. Okay, good. So we're turning around and doing all of that on the other side. So back leg goes back, pointing in at 45. Right knee stacked up over right ankle. So I'm just going to ask you to begin with to just put the hands so the palms are facing up and get that sense of what that does in the shoulders. You might then get the sense of wanting to move your shoulders back, so you're really broadening across the chest, and then take them to the traditional and look down the middle finger, but keep that sense of the shoulders moving towards each other. And I've just brought my shoulders down away from my ears. It's scrunching up is quite common. And you can, if you want, come to standing. But I'd like everyone to imagine that they're going to stand and get that sense of muscular engagement. Slow, steady breaths. Keep broadening through the chest. And then release. Left hand comes onto left thigh. And you bring the right hand up and over the head. Strong stretch. You can, if you want, have the little finger pointing down. So you've got the hand sideways, which will open up the shoulder. Or, I prefer it, reaching over. Active back leg. Five breaths here. Brilliant. And then come out. Same thing. If you reached behind last time, reach behind, and then bring the left hand up. If you got hold of the hand, maybe get hold of the hand again. I mean, there will be differences. One shoulder will be tighter than the other. So if it doesn't feel comfortable repeating the same action, please modify. Again, 5 breaths. Imagine you're trying to push yourself up and just feel the muscles engage. Feel what that does to the hips. And release. Okay, good. Stay with the legs wide. And we're coming back to the first side. We're going to now lean over this leg. So inhale, lengthen up. Exhale, lean forwards. You're leading with your chest. See where you get to. You don't want to be putting too much weight on the knee. or any weight on them really. Let the head fold forwards. And this will get into the back of the leg amongst other things. Inhale, come up. Same again on the other side. So I'm drawing my back leg in, front leg out, twisting to sort of be over, or not to sort of to be over the leg in that direction. Inhale up, exhale, fold. And come back up. So we're going to stay with stretching out the back leg. So bring the feet in together. Draw the right knee into the chest. So this is quite a strong abdominal. So just drawing the right knee in, roll your shoulders back and down. Okay. Then keep hold of the right knee with the right hand. Take the left hand out, and then you can straighten the leg. Possibly take the right hand out as well. Push into the heel, make the back of the leg active. 5 breaths. If you need to release it down in between, please do. If that feels too strong, stay with holding the leg. You can support underneath. And now we'll all get hold of the back of the leg and encourage the leg up a bit to keep that stretch. So we're opening up the hamstrings and hold of the back of the leg. So feel your toes, whichever version you've got, feel your toes coming back towards you, yeah? And that will get into the calf. And release down. Little wiggle. And it's the same again on the other side. So first of all, drawing the knee in towards the chest, shoulders back and down. Doesn't matter what the toes doing at this stage, or you could do a little ankle roll if you want. And then hand comes out to the side. And you can either stay with the hand underneath the leg, or you can take the other arm out to the side. So 5 breaths here. Check that the foot's not twisted. You want the toes coming back towards you. And shoulders back and down. If it's too strong, support the leg. Yeah. Last breath. Take it a little bit higher for the last breath. Go on. And then underneath, use your hands coming down the leg to take the leg higher. Toes back towards you. Check the foot's not twisted. You don't want an angle happening. You want an even stretch in all of the calf muscles. Great. Let that go. Well done. So we're going to do seated twists from here. So the first one is bringing foot up, foot flexed, protect your knee. You might want to put a couple of books under your foot if this feels really strong. Can help to lift the supporting leg up higher. So feel free to go off and get some books if that's going to be useful to you. Inhale, shoulders back and down. And exhale, I'm feeling back with my hand. So it's not up and I'm not going tight in the shoulder. I'm keeping that shoulder down and then I'm turning. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, turn. Inhale, lift up. Last one. Exhale, turn. Belly button towards the spine. Great. And then come back to center. So I'll demonstrate this sideways. I think you're fine. But so same thing. Foot comes up. Foot's flexed. Inhale and lengthen through the spine. And then exhale, reaching back. Now this is funny because I've done it that way. I can't on the pickle now. Reaching back this way and turning. Inhale, lift up, exhale, turn. Last time, inhale, lift up. So that's lengthening the spine, exhale, turn. Can you keep that shoulder down of the back arm? And then come back to center. But we will turn sideways. We're going to do a seated twist using the side of the chair. So this time I'm going to use both hands. On an inhale, lift up, exhale, turn. You want your feet pointing forwards, lower body straight in this direction, upper body's twisted round. Again, shoulders back and down. I'll show you that one. I'm sitting this way. So it's this. Okay. Make sure that the knees are level, actually. Do glance back and check that the knees are level. And then come back, swivel around and do the same thing on the other side. Make sure the feet are together, not touching, but just parallel. Get that length. I suggest putting your hand on your head, don't I? And then you can feel yourself lengthening up to meet the hand. And exhale around. Inhale, so you can go a bit further. Think about the weight, what's happening in the sit bones. Inhale, so you can go a bit further. Also think about keeping the shoulders down. And release. So that's quite a nice, quite a strong twist. Maybe we can think about doing that when we're at the computer, just when we're turning the computer off, something like that. So I should feel a bit more movement now in the spine and in the shoulders. I'm going to ask you to bring your right arm up, take it across the body, hook the arm, and this is going to go into the rotator cuff. Keep the arm straight, the arm that's going across the body. Check you're not turning with the arm. The reason I keep saying that is so that we're getting into, they're called the extremities, your legs and your arms. And you're wanting to get the stretch in the muscles and joints there rather than in having the spine doing the work. And then push away and resist. Let that go. And same again on the other side. Across the body. Check you're not turning. Pulling in for the first one. If that's you can't hook, doesn't feel comfortable to hook, then hold with your hand. And then push away and resist. And you'll feel the stretch go on. A little bit more into the back. Great. Okay. And let that go. Hands coming onto the shoulders now. And we're going to do some gentle rotations. When you go back, think about the shoulder blades moving towards one another. That's great. And then change directions. Really going slowly. Think about bringing your elbows as close towards each other as you can, so you'll feel the muscles having to work in the back. Change direction once more. Going back, again, careful not to flare in the ribs when you do this. So you want to keep your belly drawn in. But when you go back, just think about taking the shoulders, elbows as far as you can, and you're getting into the rhomboids, which are between the shoulder blades. Getting them to contract. Okay. And then take the feet wide, please. We keep the arms straight, and we're gonna be working the side of the body now, still the shoulders. We're gonna turn and look over our left shoulder. So we're gonna move on the breath. Inhale, come to center. Exhale, turn and look over the right shoulder. So left arm is straight when you do that. Inhale, come to center. Turn and look over left shoulder. Try and keep both arms straight, but the important one is the one you're leaning away from. Inhale, come to center. looking over right shoulder, so that'll be my left arm being straight. Last time. Inhale over to left shoulder, straighten, and the other side. Right. So hopefully there was this, because we've loosened up here, may well be a sort of sense of this releasing a little bit. Bring the feet back to center. Then I'd like you to get hold, if you can, I'm going to have to use blocks actually for this. You're going to get hold of the side of your chair. So obviously it depends what sort of chair you've got. It's just going to allow me to get the chair. So I've got the chair. You could hold your thigh if you need to. Might be better. So I've got my left arm coming across the body, and then my right arm is going to come up. So we're staying with getting the stretch into the side of the body. My right arm is coming up. It's directly parallel with my ear. So adjust, well, you're trying to get it in line with your ear. So feel what that involves. So I'm going to go to holding my thigh. And then you're leaning across the body. So leaning to the left. So it's a bit like the intense side stretch. We're just working the upper body. Think about shifting the weight back slightly and see how that changes where you feel the stretch. You're shifting the weight into the right buttock. And let that go. And then same again on the other side. So thigh or chair, if you can get the chair, that'd be great. If you can't, like I can't, don't worry about it too much. Arm comes up. Lining the arm up as much as is practical with your ear. Leaning to the other side. Don't forget to shift the weight back. It's quite noticeable how the whole body moves. Great, and then release. So we're going to come to a little bit of standing. I might have to adjust where I'm sat. We're going to come in and out of the chair 3 times to strengthen our thigh muscles. And we're going to do the chair pose, which I'll show you sideways. That's chair pose. Okay. You stick your bum out. Hands are in line with your ears, or arms are rather in line with your ears. Belly's drawn in, and it's a strong, so go easy alone on your lower back. It's quite a strong back bend. So don't stay in it for too long if it does feel uncomfortable, okay? But drawing the belly in will help. So on an inhale, we're all going to come into chair pose. Weight goes into the heels, take your bum out a bit more. Think about where your arms are. Breathe. One more breath. And then exhale to standing. Well done. Okay. And then we're going to come back down very slowly. Might want to feel behind so you know you've got the chair there, but just coming down as slow as you can. Coming back down. And then back up again, chair pose. Belly drawn in. 3 breaths. Sink a bit lower if you can. Great. And then exhale to standing. Okay, so we're up now. So we're going to do our standing sequence for balance. I'll just adjust this so you can see me. Okay. If at any time you can't see me, do unmute and point out that I've cut myself in half. So the first thing we're going to do, which is different from normal, is we're going to just try balancing on one foot and lifting the other foot completely off the ground. So I'm standing on my right, lifting up my left. Eyes are closed. Make sure you've got a chair or something stable to hand. There we go. See how far you can keep that going. If you fall out, just get back into the pose. Great. Okay, and let that go. And then same again with the other side. So grounding down through your left foot, feeling solid, lifting up the right, and then attempting to take the hands away from the chair and wanting to wobble. So eyes closed, look like you're walking on a tightrope. And can you feel the way the foot pressure's not even on the foot? My toes are coming up. You'll be feeling it differently. And I'm going over onto the outside edge of my foot. So just try and adjust that and get the whole of the foot in contact with the ground and see how it plays out. I mean, I'm really, that goes into my upper body. Okay, let it go. And we're going to do the standard one. So bringing my left foot in front of my right. I've got it so that the feet are immediately behind each other. Yeah. And then you can take fingers down and you're nodding. And if you need to hold on to the chair, then do. But try and get it to one finger or two fingers and then shaking the head. We want to wobble, okay? We really want to wobble. And then that's it, I've fallen out. Great. If you haven't and you want to keep going, then you'd take it up a notch and you'd close the eyes again. Ooh. Wobbly day. Okay. And then let that go. And shake the feet. If you're trying to flick your feet off, release the calves and same again on the other side. Okay. So we do the nodding. And then we do the shaking. Oops. And if it's not a wobbly day for you, you can move on to having the eyes closed. I think that may well be too much for me. You're fine to hold off to get yourself grounded, but then you want to try and come down to one finger. And if possible, no fingers. Great, okay. And then let that go. Well done. We're going to do quad stretch, so you may well need to get a belt, or you might hold on to the fabric of your trousers, whatever works for you. So getting hold of, I've gone for the right foot, pulling foot in towards your bum, and the stretch will be in the front of the leg. And then straightening up your torso. See how that feels. You might be able to release the chair, or you might need to hold on to the chair. It's really, doesn't have to be a balancing pose. It's about getting the stretch in the quads and the piriformis muscle possibly, which goes just here. You might feel it sort of across the groin. Okay, and then the other side, please. Don't forget to breathe. If you find something fixed to stare at, that can help. Pulling the thigh back so it's in line with the other leg. Lovely stretch. And then release. Okay. Again, shape the legs. And now foot comes onto the chair. So you can do it with whichever foot you like, it doesn't matter. Take the other foot back. So I'm hopping back, I'm pushing into the heel of the foot that's back here. And then you're moving backwards and forwards. So you're still getting a stretch in the quads, and you're also getting a stretch in the back of the leg as well, in the calf muscles. So if you're not feeling anything, then you need to hop. Or if you really want to sort of get a good stretch, hop that back foot back a bit more. You're moving backwards and forwards. Check the knee doesn't cave in. And go backwards and forwards. If you can feel somewhere's particularly tight, so I can feel that at the top of my leg, then just stay in that bit of the movement where you're getting maximum sense of sensation. And then we're going the opposite way. So you're now straightening the leg. This becomes a balancing pose suddenly, and your toes are coming back towards you. If you need to hold on to the chair, that's fine. Just slide the foot forward so you've got the chair. Otherwise, standing upright, pulling the toes back towards you. Is there a big toe dominance? There usually is. Can you get your little toes coming back a little bit more? And then exhale. Leaning forwards will intensify the stretch. So you may not want to do that. Okay. And then come back up. Before we let it go, think about pulling that foot towards you. So you're scissoring your hips. I feel a stretch and then let it go. Okay, sorry, we were up there for quite a while. You may need to shake out the standing leg. A little wiggle. And then same again on the other side. So other leg comes onto the chair. Hop back. If you don't like this sense of being further away from the chair, then just bring the foot further onto the chair. Hold on to the chair as you go back, so you've always got something to hold on to. Or maybe you've got something beside you that you can hold on to. And then we go backwards and forwards. Maybe try hopping back a little bit just to intensify sensations. And maybe, again, that scissoring thing that I was talking about, if you just think about pulling the raised leg, if you pull that hip back, what happens? What do you feel? So you're scissoring, so it's like this leg is coming back, the raised leg, and the other hip's coming forward slightly, just at the top of the legs. All right. And then pushing into the heel, straighten the raised leg. If you want to, you can come forwards over the leg. Same thing about looking at your toes and working out how you feel that. Okay, brilliant. Let it go. And again, shaky, shaky. Okay. And we're going to do another, well, I was going to say another balancing pose, but I think we should let that go for a minute because the calves are feeling quite worked. So I'm going to ask you to just put your hands, so this is a good knee strengthener. So your hands are on your knees and you're moving your knees in a circular way. And then I've just changed direction. You don't have to yet. As long as you do, if you just keep thinking. I'm going to do it 2 times going both ways. So it's a circular, I'm not weight bearing with my hands particularly. And then change again, or for the first time. You can see how much the feet move. So you're using your ankles quite strongly in this as well as the knees, strengthening those. And then change direction, please. Great. Okay. And then I'm going to just ask you to put one foot in front of the other and lean forwards. This is just going to ease out the calf muscles because we work them quite a lot in that standing pose. So same thing, scissoring the hands. Sorry, scissoring the tops of the thighs. Take the hands behind you. Get hold of the elbows if that's accessible. Lift up and then leaning forwards. You're coming over the front leg. And you're looking at your toes. Inhale back up, swivel round. Just do the same again on the other side. If you start to wobble, you need to move your foot over to put your feet on tracks rather than one behind the other. I'm just going to wriggle a bit to get hold of a tighter grip. Same thing about scissoring the upper thighs. If you do that, you'll feel it. Feel what that does to the whole of your posture. Inhale, lengthen through the spine. Exhale, coming forward, leading with the chest rather than the head. And then coming over that standing leg. Scissor your thighs again, the top of the legs towards each other, as if you're closing a pair of scissors. How does that feel? And inhale, come back up. Great. Okay. So this is the second standing pose. So it's tree pose. You can use the chair if you want to. Slippy trousers, that's not ideal. Take the foot against the thigh. Doesn't have to be, you could have the foot down here if you prefer. But taking advantage of the chair, see how high you can get. Really slippy trousers. Okay, so I'm going to go low actually. Hands come into prayer. And we're thinking about balancing, so finding something to stare at. Roll your shoulders back and down. You can take the hands up if that feels better for you. Drop the sock. Fingers, I've got the fingers splayed as if I'm like exactly as the pose says, but you can, the other option is to have the hands together above the head. But if you know you've got tight shoulders, so you get more from the pose with the hands splayed. Okay, and then release. And same again on the other side. So whatever you did on that side, repeat on this side. I don't need to take the sock off because I'm not going high. Start in prayer actually. Find something to focus on, see how you feel. And if you're feeling quite stable, you can take the hands up. Five breaths. And release. And then we're going to do the toes again before we go back to sitting. Toes one way. Come up on your tippy toe. How does that feel? Think about your little toe. Can you get your little toe or the second? More than just as many toes as possible in contact with the ground. And same again on the other side. So it's just rolling the toes and then spreading the toes, coming up onto my tiptoe. I'm feeling that connection. Or not. It might be that your little toe just doesn't get there. Into ankle. Okay. We've talked in class before about using, so we're going to come back to sitting, using spaces, the things for doing your nails is a really good way of getting some blood flow and movement between the toes. And now that it's colder and things are getting icy, I really recommend that, especially as we're stuck indoors at the moment with lockdown. So everyone's sat, and take your hands behind you. And exhale, lean forwards. So you're getting a stretch here. Really feel the shoulder blades moving towards each other. I talked about it before. These are your rhomboid muscles here. You're wanting them to contract. They weaken when we're doing computer stuff. We get the stoop. So you want them to contract and your pecs to open. And then let that go. And take the feet wide, and we're going to do some circular movements now. So making sure you're moving your head as well, because the neck is part of the spine. So this is working whole of the spine, hips, shoulders. And change direction, please. Everything should be nicely loosened up now, so you can really feel sides of the body, shoulders, hips, all flowing. Okay, and then stop that one, make that your last rotation. Okay, so it feels a bit looser now. Hope so. I'm going to bring our right arm up and behind the head. Left arm's coming across. So you're encouraging the hand down the back as much as practical. It might not be going down the back. You make sure you draw your belly button in so you're not flaring in the lower ribs. Those are your floating ribs. And if possible, think about just encouraging the elbow back slightly. Okay, so both elbows actually. And then the head. Make sure you're not sticking your head out. And release. So that's a very strong shoulder stretch. A little roll before we do the other side. And now do the other side. Hand comes up. Encourage the arm down the back. And then both shoulders back, rather elbows back, which makes the shoulders move towards each other. And head pushing back slightly into the arm. Don't forget to breathe. Belly drawn in. And release. Great. Okay. So just do a little bit of the freestyle one. So you're going to try and take one shoulder back and the other shoulder forwards. Sounds easier than it is. Okay. Really exaggerated. Let them come up. One of the few occasions I say let them come up to the ears and then take them as far away as you can. So shoulders to the ears and then as far away as you can. And then change shoulders. So change direction. The shoulder that was going back now comes forwards, and the shoulder that's going forwards now comes back. Hopefully, there's a lot more, a lot of the muscles are released, and there's a lot more movement there than if we tried this at the start of class. Great. And then the arms are coming wide. This is a nice gentle one. You're going to bring the arms across the body. You're stacking your elbows up if possible. And then we're drawing our figures of 8. Now really concentrate on making the top of the figure of 8 equally smooth and round as the bottom one. And then don't change the arms, just change the direction of the circles, the figure of 8s that you're drawing. Okay, and then exhale, fold forwards. You've probably got your right arm on top of your right-handed or your left on top of your left-handed. Just check that as you go forward. So belly's drawn in, you're folding forwards. So now we're stretching those rhomboid muscles I keep talking about today the other way. Exhale, roll a bit deeper. And then come up, come back up. And then change the cross so arms go really wide. Arms come back. And same thing, draw figures of 8. And then change direction, please. And let that go. So now I'd like you to stay facing forward. So think about where your feet are. I'm lining mine up with the edge of my mat. If there's something, a pattern on the carpet you can use, please do that. And we're going to follow our hands. So you're going to do straight arms. Exhale. Obviously, you've got to think about what sort of chair you've got. And we're going to do this 10 times each side. So you're coming up, coming around. Coming up, coming round. So I would say hold on to the chair if you can with your right arm. And that way you might see that the stretch is happening more in the shoulder rather than in the spine. Following the arm with your eyes. Sorry, I've completely lost count. I'd say that's probably 7, 8, 9, and 10. Okay. And then same again on the other side. So getting hold of whatever you can. Lifting right arm up now. Exhale, turn. And comes up and turns. So 10 times on this side. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There that go. Okay. Little wiggle. And then we're going to come back to check in on our neck. We started with the neck. So let the head fall towards the left ear. Moving the head backwards and forwards. And then take the head up to center. Check the other side. So it's where we're imagining we're rubbing our ear against our shoulder. And then let the head drop back and do a half circle. This is a bit tricky to explain without being there in class to get to it. But if you could just take your fingers, so index finger, middle finger, and put it just where the skull connects to the neck. So just feel around there. There's a lot of nerves, so even if you don't find the place, there's a lot of nerves that come together there. Really good to stimulate this area. And then you're going to just take the head back and wiggle your finger into that area. Okay. And feel, probably get quite a lot of sensation because like I say, a lot of nerves go together here. And just if you can release that, you're also wiggling around. There's a dent, a dip that you're aiming for, but it doesn't matter if you don't find it. If you turn the head up towards the ceiling, it can help. Okay. Great. And then just run your thumbs along where the skull connects to the neck. So running your thumbs along there. Again, you get quite a lot of sensation. Look up and wiggle it along. And if you're really feeling a lot, Geraldine, you said you had tight neck, then maybe you can try this after class as well. Just giving yourself a bit of a neck massage, which will really help with the blood flow. Okay. And then we're coming to the end of the session now, so I'm just going to end with 3 alternate nostril breaths. So if you'd rather carry on with a neck massage, if that feels really lovely, you know, we've got so little contact going on with other people at the moment, then carry on with that. Otherwise, we're going to just deepen the breath. So inhaling, covering over the left nostril, I'm inhaling through the right. Closing that off, I'm breathing out through the left. I'm tucking my chin in just to release the neck. Back in through the left. Closing that off and breathing out through the right. That's one round. Back in through the right. Close that off, out through the left. Back in through the left. Close that off and out through the right. If this isn't comfortable, just stop. Otherwise, third and final round, back in through the right. Close that off, out through the left. Back in through the left. And out through the right. And then just bring your hands to your belly and to your heart, whichever hand feels best in which position. And as you breathe in, feel the expansion and spaciousness that happens, connecting to your breath. Inhale and exhale 2 more times. That familiar rhythmical movement of body and breath, always there. Amen. Thank you very much, everyone, for coming to class. You can just release that contact now, and I'll unmute you. Thank you very much. Hope that's got you feeling a bit more fluid.